Knock knock, who's there? Well, a platform that is constantly working towards removing the taboo around mental health and making it a central area of focus for everyone around. Yes, it is Calm Sage, Speak Your Mind, the judgment free zone. So, we are back again with another episode where we'll be talking about the art of balance. Balance, yes, balancing the relationships, maintaining them, and nourishing them, especially during the time of COVID crisis. And to have a discussion on the same, today we have with ourselves a very special friend of mine, Priyansi Goyal. She's a counselor psychologist, an art therapy advocate, and a mental health enthusiast, just like Team Calm Sage. So we welcome you, Priyansi.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, Priyansi. So I would like to start by putting the first question forward, and that is, how do you feel about this whole new concept of social distancing, considering the fact that we human beings are social in nature, and now, amid the time of crisis, we have to keep ourselves socially distant from each others?
Right. So it's been like that. You can't hug someone, you can't cuddle with them, you can't even just kiss them. So what happens is, since we are social beings, like you already said, we want that touch. We want that physical touch from our partners, from our family, from siblings, from friends, and that is somewhere getting lost. Earlier, what we used to do is, if somebody's coming to a house, we just hug on them, we just hug them. But now, when someone comes, you're like, okay, take the sanitizer, change your clothes, go and take a bath. So that in moment happiness that gets lost when you start doing all of these things. So personally, if I talk about, I don't like the concept of social distancing, but it's like you don't have an option. That is for our safety only. So what we can do here is that whenever someone is coming to your house, like we do the sanitization process, and after that we can just have a warm hug or a cuddle or a kiss or just holding hands. So that will uh, inbuilt, that will actually, what we say, that will uh, give you a sense of touch, that will give you the sense of warmth, and will help us to gain the physical touch that we are losing. We cannot get that in moment happiness, but then obviously we can get it that little after. So that is very important. Touch is very important.
True. I believe even when we read about therapy and everything, and even when we talk about how a child grows, during the entire development stage, touch is so important because it offers us that safe space. And very rightly said that at moment happiness, which we call, you should be mindful about what's happening. You should live in the moment. So that is being taken away from us. But yes, of course, at the same time, it is indeed important.
Right. And we also talk about the attachment theory. Like when the child is growing, she needs the most is the touch, the attachment from the primary caretaker. So physical touch is very important for an adult, adolescent, anyone. So that is important. Instead of losing it completely, we can have it maybe little, but it's important to have it.
True, true. Very well said. So, ever since COVID has been a part of our life, there are new studies being conducted. Every single day, a new, news flashes on our television. It's a headline in a newspaper. Now, one such news and article that caught my attention was that, and plus it's the most recent topic of discussion and it relates with our topic of discussion as well. And it says that the highest numbers of divorce cases have been filed during the pandemic. And that's like, ouch, tricky point for me personally. So what do you think probably has gone wrong here, that why, despite the fact that we are getting a chance to live together, we are choosing our separate ways? Is it good, is it bad? So what's your take on it?
So, before talking about the divorce cases, let's look at the family structure. Because in India, if I talk about particularly India, we live in a family. Okay, it's like you don't marry a person, you marry the family, right? So, let's talk about the family structure first. So, what happens is, either you can have a joint family or you can have a nuclear family, right? Even in a nuclear family, what has happened is, either uh, the couple was living far away from the parents, and due to COVID they had to come back home because of work from home situations or whatever. Okay, or you are living, just the couple is living with their kids, But now 24/7 the couple is at home. Okay, then the other situation can be you do not have a habit of living in a joint family, but now because of COVID you had to live in a joint family. Okay, so it has been difficult for each and every human being, be it older people, okay, be it our parents, okay, be it our generation, adolescents, okay, be it newly married couples or couples who are married for past 10 years or 20 years, or children who are school going. So it has been difficult for everyone. Now, when I talk about the divorce cases, when I talk about the couples to be in particular, the divorce cases are rising. One of the reasons can be that you are together 24/7. Earlier, if the man is going out for work, the woman is at the house, okay? Or both are going for their work separately. So you are meeting different people, okay? You are having conversation with others, but right now all you have is the husband or the wife. Okay, you live in the same room. Okay, there are some houses which do not have much space. Either it's a 3 BHK flat. Okay, if it's a bungalow, then it's a different story. But if you have a 3 BHK flat, suppose, and there are two families living there, two couples living there, so you do not have that privacy. You have to be there in the room 24/7. So you were not in a habit of talking to the other person. You were not in the habit of seeing the other person 24/7. Although you love them, definitely, but you were not in the habit of talking to them, meeting them, seeing the same face constantly 24/7. Okay, so when it happens generally with us as well, when we live with our siblings, okay, so you are 24/7 seeing each other, you might end up fighting, you might have communication gaps. Similarly can happen with couples as well. So since the couples were not able to manage that thing, because this pandemic was like, it was just thrown on you. You were not, told, okay, in 2020 this is going to happen. It was just thrown at you. You were not, nobody was prepared for it, right? So one of the reasons of rising divorce cases, right? So this can be one of the reasons. Then also, like if I talk about the patriarchal society where the woman has more work, she is working, she is doing the household work as well. There is an what do we say? The roles are not equally divided. There is an unequal distribution of roles. Okay, so the woman is working also. Okay, she's like the office work she is doing. She's working at home as well. Be it cooking, cleaning, mopping, washing clothes, everything she is doing. So that also leads to a certain kind of frustration that okay, I am the only one looking after the kids. Okay, I am the only one making the food, cleaning the household things. Okay. Now, on the other hand, when I talk about the husband, suppose if the husband is not contributing equally with the wife says that okay, she's nagging him that you're not contributing, you should be contributing. Now the husband is getting irritated. So both on individual levels might be right, but when we put these two people together, they are not right. Okay, so one of the reasons of why people are going for divorce cases. So we can say communication gap, okay, not understanding the situation of the other person, increasing boredom because you're seeing the same faces 24/7, taking care of children, if you have children, taking care of in-laws, taking care of your own self, and then obviously the office pressure is there. Some of the reasons why the cases are increasing.
True. I think because, we all have our own daily tolerances, we all have our own frustrations, and our rims just fill up to the point where they just explode, and the other person is also going through something or other in their life, and their rim also gets full and that also explodes. Earlier, we had, our own way of throwing out something out of this jar of frustration, like by just driving, going on a long drive, listening to music, meeting your friends, having a nice cup of coffee, whatsoever. But it used to like unload that content in this frustration jar. And
right, what is happening is that jar is getting filled in the same room and it has to be emptied in the same room.
yeah,
So filling and emptying the jar cannot happen in the same room.
True.
If that happens, then obviously things go haywire. So yes, that is happening. Also earlier, like before the pandemic, you could go out and talk to your friends. You can just take a walk outside. But here you can't do anything. You have to be there in the house itself.
I would totally agree with you that yes, these are the key factors. But at the same time, I would say relationships are fragile. I like to, refer to them as house plants. They're just little house plants. They need constant care and investment of your efforts. So, would you like to share some key ingredients or take care tips with our viewers so that they can take care of their relationship and make it strong enough, especially to endure the test of pandemic?
If you talk about tips, they are not therapeutic interventions, but just tips that we can take care at our house. Is first of all, what we can do is whenever we are having a fight with someone, okay, and we know it's going that much. I mean, it's not going to end in a good manner. Stop right away. Be mindful that what am I going to say in that moment. Okay, so just stop right away, take a walk. Walking helps, it helps immensely. Okay, second, what you can do is take a cup of water, cold water, drink that water. So water is said to have calming properties. Okay, so when you drink water, your anger also subsides a bit. Okay, so that is one thing you can do. Third, what you can do is spend time with your family. If you're living with your parents, if you're living with your cousins, or if you're living with your partner, spend time with them. Okay, like have 1 hour of your day, which is your no mobile zone, because obviously for the whole day you are on your phones, on your laptops, working, connecting virtually. Virtual connections is also definitely important. But while connecting virtually, we forget that we also have some people who are physically present in the moment, and we tend to ignore them. So take an hour where you can connect to them, be it anyhow. You can cook together, you can play together, any board games, you can watch TV together, anything. But when everyone is together and nobody is on any gadget, is using any gadget. Okay, third can be this. Then fourth can be when you know that suppose a mother and a son are having a conversation over something, or are having a conflict over something. The other members in the house, the other two members, the 7 members in the house, should not interfere when the conversation is happening between the mother and the child. What happens is they two are having a conflict amongst each other. I go and interfere in it. I get targeted. You go and interfere in between. You go get targeted, right? So when two people are having a heated conversation, try not to interfere. Otherwise, it doesn't remain a two-people conversation. It becomes a three-people conversation. You also get, carried into that conversation or in the conflict. So try not to interfere when a couple is having an argument, or maybe two siblings, two friends, anyone. So these are the few things you can take care of at home, because you're living with the same people at the same time. Then the next can be, give yourself some time. Give yourself some time alone, because it is very important when you're living with the same people in the house. So you need that alone time. Okay, so you can have your alone time. You can draw, you can dance, you can cook, you can bake, you can do some gardening, you can sleep, you can talk to your friends. Anything where you are, when the other family members are not there with you. I know it can be difficult because of space issues, obviously, but then try maybe sitting quietly. Meditation helps. It helps real time, like, so you can do that also. So there are a few things you can take care of while being at home.
Okay, thank you, Priyansi, especially for sharing the water and the walking point. I myself wouldn't agree any less on this, that water is like a magical tonic. We just think that we are thirsty, we should drink water, but we just forget that water is more than just a basic need that you have, that is of thirst. So thank you for highlighting on this point. Now, although you have already touched upon this aspect, and we discussed that number one reason why there is so much frustration and conflicts happening in relationship during the time of crisis, and it is the long hours spent together, not just not just talking to each other or engaging in each other's activities, but also looking at each other's faces. So that also counts into these long hours that we spend together. So even many articles and many therapists and psychologists have agreed on this point, that this is one of the major reasons why relationships are falling apart. And so did you address it. So what's your take on that, and how can possibly, despite the fact that we have to live under the same roof, how do you think we can create boundaries around us in a relationship?
Anjali, when we talk about boundaries, so there is a Western culture and there is an Indian culture. The boundaries is a concept of Western culture. It gets really difficult to put boundaries in an Indian culture because we are someone who live in a family. Okay, even the extended family comes into picture if something happens. While the same doesn't happen when you talk about the Western culture. So while talking about boundaries, culture plays a very important role. And when I talk about Indian culture, it gets really difficult to have fixed boundaries. Okay, that I'm not going to talk to you. This is fine from my end. I cannot do that with my mom, with my siblings, with my partner. I cannot have really fixed boundaries because they don't take it they take it in a really harsh manner. Okay, the relationships might get to subside instead of improving. So when I talk about the Indian culture, it's good to have flexible boundaries. Okay, so have flexible boundaries, but I would rather say also be stick on the point that okay, this is what I want from you, this is what I don't want from you. So it depends on the individual that how do you actually maintain your boundaries when I talk about the Indian culture. Now, when I talk about maintaining boundaries, just suppose if I want to tell my partner that I want some alone time. Okay, since we are doing all the course together, we are spending time together, I need some alone time. Now here I'm putting a self boundary where I am saying that I need some alone time. The other person might understand, the other person might not understand. But if you feel that some alone time is important for you, you should have an alone time, because until and unless you are not aware of what is happening inside your body, inside your mind, you cannot give to the other person the same, right? You cannot give the same attention, the same love to the other person. So it's very important to have boundaries.
So this is, I think, a very important point that we generally don't really highlight much. That we read that okay, this is how we can create boundaries, but then we forget the cultural aspect, that it's not that easy for every culture, every person.
Because when it comes, sorry to interrupt you, because if I talk about particularly about myself, my parents will not understand the concept of boundary. Right, where I understand, they will not understand. My siblings, my friends might not understand, and I understand. So it's important to see that when you put your boundaries, how is it going to affect the other person? How is it going to affect yourself as well? Taking into picture the Indian culture particularly.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you are suggesting that whenever we are creating boundary, we are saying someone that I'm up for this, or I want something from you, and this is what you should expect out of me during these times. So you're saying that we should take into consideration their emotional and mental health aspects as well. That
yes.
Are they ready to be on the same page with us? Okay.
Yes. So when we are doing that, we have to obviously put ourselves on the priority, but not be very harsh with the other person that, okay, I am done with this and I am not going to do it. Okay. So we have to take both the parties into account that I am setting this boundary.
Okay. So instead of imposing it, have a discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. Rightly said.
So communicate when you create a boundary that this is what I am wanting to communicate. This is what I don't like when you do it. This is how you can communicate before imposing the boundaries. Like suppose if you want to do it with your mother or with your parents, then if they maybe shout at you, so you can just communicate it to them. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you increase your voice. So these are certain ways that you can certain steps you can take to communicate to the other people before putting harsh boundaries.
Oh, very well said. I think this I statement I read somewhere, in some of the therapy books, that whenever you're communicating something, instead of saying that you make me feel, we should always say that I feel this way. You shouldn't hold other person responsible for making you feel that way. Take that ownership that yes, this is how you are making, this is how I feel about your actions. Yes.
Right.
So,
This is just like, because if I say you that Anjali, you make me angry. Okay. Instead of saying Anjali, you make me angry, I would say I get angry. I get angry when you raise your voice. So what I'm doing is I am turning the situation at me. So you will not get instigated by that. Oh, she's saying that I make her angry, because I start the sentence with I get angry when this thing happens. So this is how. So this is just like switch words. Okay, that how you need to switch words, how you need to communication is the key for any relationship. With your parents, with your siblings, with your friends, with your partner, anyone. Communication, how you communicate is very important.
Okay. So, guys, please make a note that when we are communicating, and please take ownership of what you are saying, this will definitely bring changes in the way your relationship is functioning right now. So, Priyansi, to wrap it up, because we have covered where the problems are, we have covered that how we can make it better, and we also talked of boundaries and the I statement importance. So, to wrap it up, would you like to suggest some tips? As I said, that relationships are like houseplants. So, how we can, make this houseplant bloom instead of being all gloomy. So, how we can make our relationships even better. Just one important or one of the major tip, or maybe a therapeutic based intervention that could bring about a positive change in their life.
So, when I talk about the therapeutic interventions, we're talking about relationships. Before stepping into relationships, we should know who we are. Okay, as an individuals, even if you are into a relationship, it is very important for you to know that who you are as an individual. Because when you talk about a relationship, there are two people, but there are two individuals as well. They are a couple, but they are two individuals as well. So instead of saying the other person, communicating the other person that what do you want from a relationship, before that you should know that what do you actually want. Ask yourself that what do you actually want from this relationship from the other person. So knowing yourself is very important. How can you know yourself is journaling. Okay, that journaling helps a lot in knowing yourself. Then love languages. I forgot to mention earlier about love languages, knowing your love languages and the other person's love languages as well. This is a very important part of a relationship. When I talk about knowing about yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. This is a very popular saying, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So fill yourself first, give yourself that love so that you can give the same love to them. Now, what we generally do with the clients is that when a couple is there or somebody comes with this relationship issue, we tell them if you're having a high time communicating with each other, indulge yourself in activities where you don't have to actually communicate, where you don't have to actually speak. For example, drawing, okay, coloring a mandala. So what is happening is you just have that book, you have colors, you're not talking, okay, you're just filling that mandala together. You're not talking, but then you're together into that activity. Okay, the presence matters. Okay, so that will help take a one step ahead in the relationship. Okay, give each other chances. Give each other chances by me. That I mean, today I will watch. Let's watch a movie that I like. Tomorrow we will watch the movie that you like. Okay. Third can be when I say that I am bored of you, because we're in this pandemic. Boredom will come. Boredom will come even if you love the next person to the core. Boredom will strike because there is nothing new to do. Okay, boredom will strike. So when you communicate this to your person, that or your person communicates to you that I am bored right now, that doesn't mean that he or she is bored of you. Rather, he or she is trying to communicate that he or she is bored from the situation. So instead of saying that you don't love me anymore because you're bored of me, acknowledge that, okay, I am bored, he is bored, what can we do to erase off this boredom? Instead of putting that person down, you don't love me anymore. No, she loves you, but he or she is bored of the situation that we are right now. Acknowledge that we are bored in the situation. Find different ways that how can we erase, or if not erase, then how can we decrease the boredom. Next is give each other space. yes, you love each other, the most, you're the two lovebirds, but giving each other space is very important. Okay, we need that individual time, be it 30 minutes, we need those 30 minutes for ourselves, where we can just talk to ourselves, where we can be mindful of our own self. Space from each other is important, especially in the pandemic. One of the reasons we have talked about of the divorce cases, right? Because we say that, okay, I love you so much that let's be 24/7 together. No. If I talk about the long run, in the long run, you will need your individual time. So why not start with it today? Okay, don't be affected by the fact that, okay, he doesn't love me, she doesn't love me because she needs the alone time, or they're bored right now. Understanding each other is very important. Sexual activities are very important. Time to time sexual activities, change in those sexual activities. Sex can also be a reason of boredom because you're doing the same thing every day. So change in that, some spark in that is also very important. Okay, because you are living again together. So change in that is also important. Having a timetable that today I will do these courses, tomorrow you will do these courses, and changing those uh, roles every day will keep some newness in the relationship, and you will not, go on the haywire. You will not be, on the worst side of the relationship. So these little things, where we understand ourselves first, obviously, and also understand the other person. First self and then the other person. You're not being selfish here, but this is important to take care of the relationship. Like you just said, right? It's like a plant. If there is more sunlight, it will not bloom. If there is more water, it will not bloom. Even if the plant grows up into a tree, you still have to take care of that plant. You have to give water, you have to, give it proper sunlight. So even if the relationship grows for like 10 years, 20 years, you still will have to put efforts in that relationship so that it keeps moving. It's like an everyday effort.
So to summarize it, first thing that I understood is that you shouldn't be taking things personally. So if other person is saying I'm bored, I need a break, don't take it personally that I am the one because of whom he needs a break. No, it's his own life or her own life that she needs a break from. Make point check. The second thing is that you should communicate, of course, which is the soul and the crux of any relationship, that communicate as much as possible. The third point that I would summarize from what you shared with us is that we need newness in our life. As the old saying goes, that change is the only constant. So you should bring the changes not in your sexual life alone, but also in the way you are spending time together. Just meeting for breakfast, just meeting for dinner. At the times you're not meeting. No, change that bit as well and spend. One point that I loved the most was activities where you don't have to communicate. So sometimes words, we pick the words, we start fight over them. Spend time, activities where you're not really communicating. So thank you for touching upon these pointers. However, I said that this is the last question I'm going to ask you, but there was one word that you just shared with us, and that has taken my mind off, and I'm stuck there. So it was love languages. So yes, we would like to know something about love language.
Okay. When I talk about love languages in simple sense, love languages are what the other person likes, or what do you like. Now, by love languages, I mean there are different love languages. So for me, my love languages will be different. For my partner, love languages will be different. Now, there can be different love languages, such as one can be touch, which we had already discussed earlier, that why touch is important. Then affirmations. By affirmations, I mean words. I love you. I like you. I'm here. I care for you. Have you eaten your food? Call me when you reach home. Okay. So these are the affirmations. These are the words that we can use with our partner. So it is important to communicate to the other person that these are my love languages. Okay. And know the love languages of the other person as well, that what are his or her love languages. This will help you to bloom your relationship. Okay, because you know better about the other person. These are this in simple languages, what are the love languages? It can be touch, it can be words of affirmation, it can be the act of actions that you do. I'll cook today. Okay, I just do cooking today, or maybe always you are the one who's driving. I will drive today. So showing them by actions and not words. There are some people who like arranging for a little candlelight dinner, yeah, arranging for making a little cake. Okay, so actions. So different. These are different for different people. So this is like very basic of love languages. So yeah.
This is interesting because when you say these things, I can resonate with them, because I think every person, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, but otherwise as well. So, maybe when I talk of my elder sibling, she would prefer words of affirmation. When I talk of my younger sibling, she would prefer, he would prefer receiving gifts. So, depending on a person, they'll prefer for their love for you to be shown in different manner. So I think this is again important.
What we do is when we put efforts in knowing the other person, when we put efforts in knowing ourselves, we put efforts in building a particular relationship. We show that we care. Okay, when I am interested in knowing that, okay, actually, what is your love language? What is it that you want from me? I am putting an effort. I am giving an investment. I'm putting an investment that, okay, what does she like? How would she want me to make her happy? Because when we say that when we are in a relationship, we expect. Okay, one important point that I missed was reciprocity. Reciprocity in any relationship is very important. Okay, in the long term, not in the short run, definitely, but in the long run, reciprocity is very important. If I'm the one who's only giving in the relationship and I'm not receiving anything, okay, I will be like, dude, what? Right? So it's like reciprocity is very important, and just not in a couple, but in friendship as well, in mother-child relationship as well, okay, in siblings as well. In any relationship, reciprocity is also, we do say that you should not expect, but for how long? Okay, but for how long would you not expect? So there is unrealistic expectation and realistic expectations. Set realistic expectations from the other person. So reciprocity is also very important when we talk about relationships, where we have talked about communication. With that also comes reciprocity in relationships.
Yeah, I would like to, share my insight on the concept of reciprocity and sending and receiving end. So according to me, like how I understand this concept is, these are two people. Fine. If one is just giving, the distance keeps on increasing. The person is just receiving. He doesn't realize this. Distance keeps on increasing. So, there comes a point where you actually expect, you're right. There comes a point where you expect the other person to take a step and, connect with you. Fine. So, if you are the giver, you will just move away and the receiver won't even realize. So, understand that, you also need to give other person efforts, time, whatsoever you can give them the best, understanding their love language. So, then this distance can be covered because you're giving, you're receiving, you're giving, you're receiving. So, you're sticking close to each other because of reciprocity. So, thank you for touching upon this. Perfect, Priyanshi. I must say that this was a very enlightening session, especially for me, because of course we all have been in this COVID zone, and now it's time for me to go back and reflect on my relationships in my life and start working on them. So thank you for this session. I hope you too enjoyed imparting this information to our viewers. So thank you so much. It was amazing to have you over.
Oh, sorry, I'm interfering again. One thing I just wanted to say, that when we work on our relationships, there will be ups and downs both. Okay, so it is not like that today it's not working, so tomorrow it will not work. Or if today it's working, tomorrow it will not work. There will be ups and downs. It's on us that how do we build it? How do we actually invest into it? So if you are someone, all those who are watching, if you are someone whose relationship is not working right now, don't get disheartened. See that how you two people can invest into it and make it better for both of you, and not just any one of them in the relationship. Because it's just like a car. Even if one tire is punctured, it will not work, right? In a scooty also, if one tire is punctured, it will not work. So you will have to, both will have to work towards it. So work and invest into any relationship.
Thank you so much, Priyansi. We hope to see you over again on our platform where we shall be discussing some other thing, because this was very enlightening, and I hope our viewers have taken note and they too are going to go back home after this session and reflect on their relationship and themselves and make their relationship work, nurture it like a plant, and make it function like the wheels of car. Now it's time for you to not let the COVID times take the warmth away from your relationship. Rather, it is time to focus on the pointers as highlighted by our guest speaker today and make them a part of your relationship. Remember, all it needs is efforts. So make sure you're putting in enough efforts to make your relationship work. Also, before you leave, we have a special gift for you. We share graphics and wallpaper every time along with the webinar. But this time, we have it with a special motive, that is, for you to share your love with your loved ones. Just save the wallpaper and share it across with your loved ones to tell them that you care for them and you're there for them every time they need you. With this, I'd like to bring our webinar to an end. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want us to cover something else in our upcoming webinars, please do mention your suggestions in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. Thank you, take care, stay safe, and stay happy.